With the 144th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns selected Shadour Sanders. This moment was expected to mark the beginning of something significant, yet it came with an unsettling undertone. Shadour, a quarterback whose name had been buzzing in NFL discussions for months, had aimed for an earlier selection, possibly even in the first round. Instead, he found himself dropping to the fifth round. The events of draft day were dramatic, leaving fans, analysts, and even NFL insiders confused about what really transpired behind the scenes. Welcome to Celebrity Cookies, where the tea is always hot and the stories come with sprinkles of surprise. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment with your take on the story. We've all seen the headlines heralding Shadour Sanders as the next big thing. His raw talent, potential, and the surrounding hype were undeniable. However, the draft experience was far from a fairy tale for him. It wasn't just the unexpected lower selection, it was the rumors about behind-the-scenes influences. Whispers suggested that someone, or perhaps a group of influential individuals, had a hand in shaping his outcome. Among those mentioned was none other than Tom Brady. Indeed, Tom Brady, the legendary quarterback who had reportedly trained with Shadour before the draft, offering him guidance and mentorship. But now, questions are emerging. How could Brady, the mentor, possibly be implicated in preventing Shadour from achieving a higher draft position? This unfolding story resembles a soap opera filled with layers of betrayal, power struggles, and inquiries into the NFL's hidden politics. The first indication of trouble arose when Shadour was picked by the Cleveland Browns, a team with a complicated history that seemed at odds with the excitement surrounding him. Given Shadour's impressive skills, poise, and solid season, it was puzzling that his draft stock had dropped. Was this due to something he did, or what he represented? If the rumors hold any truth, the answer may be more complex than it seems. Let's take a step back. Tom Brady wasn't just a casual mentor to Shadour, he was deeply involved in his training, which didn't resemble typical quarterback development sessions. Many are speculating whether this was more of a scouting effort. Why would Brady, a seasoned NFL veteran, work so closely with Shadour only to see him fall down the draft board? Here's the twist. Brady's involvement went beyond training sessions. Rumors suggest that as a minority owner of an NFL team, he may have been connected to some behind-the-scenes decision-making. That's right, he could have influenced where Shadour ultimately ended up. Given Brady's stature in the NFL, it's not entirely far-fetched to think he had a say in the decisions made by team executives and owners. But hold on, it gets even more intricate. Not only was Shadour ignored during the draft, but he also became the target of a prank. Someone made a fake call to him, pretending to be from the New Orleans Saints and offering him a place on their team. Just think about the excitement of believing you're about to hear from an NFL team, only to discover it was a cruel joke. It's one thing to not be drafted where you expected, but facing public mockery adds another layer of embarrassment. Shadour's draft night was a glaring example of disrespect, and the conspiracy theories have only grown since then. Many fans and analysts suspect he was being undermined for reasons unrelated to his on-field performance. Was it jealousy? Was it fear? Some believe that NFL decision-makers were more concerned with controlling the narrative and preventing the rise of a new star who could disrupt the status quo. The drama didn't stop with the draft. The aftermath raised even more questions. After Shadour was selected, the internet buzzed with speculation. Some fans theorized that Tom Brady, while training Shadour, might have been scouting his competition for the NFL. The idea that Brady could have used their training sessions to pinpoint Shadour's weaknesses and then discreetly relayed that information to team executives has left fans confused. Brady didn't stay quiet for long. When he finally addressed the situation, his comments didn't clear up any doubts. Instead of coming off as the perfect mentor, his words seemed to heighten the uncertainty about his true intentions. It felt as if he was trying to distance himself from Shadour, complicating their relationship even more. However, it's not just Tom Brady under scrutiny. Some insiders suggest that NFL executives and coaches were wary of Deion Sanders, Shadour's father, and the influence he might wield in the league. Deion has always been a larger-than-life figure, and his success as a coach at Colorado has attracted attention from across the sports world. This raises the question, were NFL teams concerned that Deion could jeopardize their jobs? Were they worried that drafting Shadour might signal a shift that could disrupt the established power dynamics within the NFL? After all, Deion Sanders doesn't conform to traditional norms. He's a powerful presence, and the NFL may have seen him as a potential disruptor, someone who could challenge the existing order. If Shadour were to thrive, it could open the door for Coach Prime to step onto NFL sidelines. That's a scenario that might have sent some executives and coaches into a frenzy, fearing for their own positions in light of Deion's charisma and success. Let's examine Shadour's reputation, which became a major hurdle during the pre-draft process. Reports suggest that some teams were worried about his behavior in interviews. It wasn't his abilities that raised concerns, but rather his attitude. Allegedly, Shadour came across as overly confident, even arrogant, which didn't resonate well with certain teams. In the NFL, quarterbacks are expected to be leaders who command respect both on and off the field. However, excessive self-assurance or showiness can be seen as a drawback instead of an asset. Additionally, it's crucial to understand the larger context. Despite the NFL's modern image and media portrayals, it still upholds traditional values. The league emphasizes discipline, humility, and a strong work ethic, qualities that some felt Shadour did not fully embody. Even with his undeniable talent, some perceived him as a diva, a term often used for athletes who fail to meet expectations. However, if Shadour had played a different position, this might not have been an issue. As a quarterback, he is always under scrutiny, and every action is closely examined, which presents a unique challenge. An interesting question arises. Did Tom Brady, with his considerable influence in the NFL, deliberately impede Shadour's progress? Some speculate that Brady wanted to protect his own legacy. If Shadour had achieved record-breaking success and championships, it could potentially overshadow Brady's accomplishments. In an era where every quarterback is compared to the greatest of all time, could Brady have been worried about Shadour's potential rise? Furthermore, there's the connection to the Cleveland Browns. Deion Sanders had previously mentioned he wouldn't recommend any young quarterback to join Cleveland, a team that has faced years of struggles. So, how did Shadour end up there? Was it just a coincidence, or was there something more significant at play? Cleveland fans, remembering Deion's critical comments, may not receive Shadour warmly. Instead, he could find himself in a tough situation, facing scrutiny even before he throws his first pass. Ultimately, this situation goes beyond Shadour Sanders or Tom Brady. It involves power dynamics, legacy, and the inner workings of the NFL. The league's politics are complex, and the influences at play extend far beyond what is visible on game days. Shadour's draft night was not merely a personal setback. It underscored the entrenched politics within the NFL and how, at times, talent alone isn't sufficient to navigate the complexities of the system. In the end, this situation goes beyond just Shadour Sanders or Tom Brady. It touches on issues of power, legacy, and the inner workings of the NFL. The league's politics are complex, and the factors at play reach far beyond what is apparent during games. Shadour's experience on draft night was more than just a personal disappointment. It underscored the entrenched politics within the NFL and demonstrated that sometimes sheer talent isn't sufficient to navigate the intricacies of the system. Was Shadour Sanders the victim of a calculated effort to sabotage his draft chances, or was it merely a matter of bad timing and circumstances? Regardless of the truth, one thing is certain: Shadour's journey is still in progress. The NFL may have tried to impede his advancement, but don't be surprised if he uses this obstacle as fuel to exceed expectations. One thing we know about Shadour is that he is determined. This is just the beginning for him. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on the story.